Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ahmed Ali Naqvi and you are watching Current Affairs, a Fortnightly Glance with Ahmed Ali Naqvi. नाज़रीन, आज की इस एपिसोड में हम एक इम्पॉर्टेंट डेवलपमेंट पे बात करेंगे विच इज़ द रिसेंटली डिसीजन बाय द परमानेंट कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन बिटवीन इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान on the maintainability of Pakistan's request that the hydroelectric issues between Pakistan and India should be trialed in permanent court of arbitration. नाज़रीन, इस डिसीजन के हवाले से इसका बैकग्राउंड है, इसकी इंपॉर्टेंट डिस्कशंस हैं, इस पर हम बात करेंगे और इसको हम 3 हिस्सों में डिवाइड करेंगे। सबसे पहले हम देखेंगे कि ये जो डिसीजन है परमानेंट कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन का कि दैट इट हैज़ द लीगल राइट टू प्रोसीड विद द केस एज रिक्वेस्टेड बाय पाकिस्तान थ्रू वर्ल्ड बैंक। ये डिसीजन जो है इसका बैकग्राउंड क्या है, वाई द मैटर रीच टू दिस परमानेंट कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन, फिर इस जो डिसीजन है इसकी इम्पेक्ट्स क्या होंगे और फिर इसके नतीजे में जो इम्प्लिकेशंस हैं। हमने देखा कि इंडिया ने इस डिसीजन को रिजेक्ट किया, तो ये रिजेक्शन की और उसकी जो बात की इम्प्लिकेशंस हैं वो क्या होंगी, ये 3 पॉइंट हम इस डिस्कशन में बात करेंगे इस पर। सो नाज़रीन, एट द हार्ट ऑफ दिस डिसीजन इज़ अ कंट्रोवर्सी बिटवीन इंडिया पाकिस्तान ऑन दी डिफरेंट रिवर्स। जो रिवर्स के ऊपर जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं उनके ऊपर जो है वो ये डिस्प्यूट बना है। और ये रिवर्स कौन से हैं नाज़रीन, हम अगर ब्रॉड व्यू में देखें तो इंडिया पाकिस्तान के दरमियान में 1960 में होने वाली जो इंडस वाटर्स ट्रीटी थी, इस ट्रीटी के अंदर रिवर्स डिवाइड किए गए। जो रावी, ब्यास और सतलज के रिवर्स हैं, द राइट ऑफ दोज वाटर्स वाज गिवन टू इंडिया, और जो रिमेनिंग रिवर्स हैं इंडस, झेलम एंड चनाब, उनके ऊपर जो राइट है वो पाकिस्तान को दिया गया। ऑल्दो इंडिया वाज आल्सो अलाउड टू यूज़ वाटर्स बट विद सम रिस्ट्रिक्शंस, विद सम लिमिटेशंस। आसान लफ्ज़ों में नाज़रीन, इन जो इंडस रिवर है, झेलम रिवर है और चनाब रिवर है, उनके रिवर का एक्सक्लूसिव राइट टू कंजम्पशन तो पाकिस्तान का है, बट इंडिया हैज़ अ राइट टू यूज़ सम वाटर्स एज वेल, और पर्टिकुलरली फॉर द पर्पज़ ऑफ हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिक प्रोजेक्ट्स, जिनको हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स भी कहते हैं। सो हिस्टोरिकली इंडिया हैज़ बीन कंस्ट्रक्टिंग वेरियस प्रोजेक्ट्स, और उनमें कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स के ऊपर डिस्प्यूट्स भी हैं, कुछ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट भी हैं, बट ये जो पर्टिकुलर मामला है नाज़रीन, इट इमर्ज्ड मेनली बिकॉज ऑफ दी प्रोजेक्ट्स, पर्टिकुलरली जिसके अंदर 2 प्रोजेक्ट्स बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, और जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है वो है किशन गंगा प्रोजेक्ट और दूसरा है रतले प्रोजेक्ट। जो किशन गंगा प्रोजेक्ट है बेसिकली इट इज़ ऑन रिवर नीलम, जो इंडियन कश्मीर, ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर से आता है, और इट इन पाकिस्तान इट मर्जेस विद द झेलम रिवर। बिकॉज दिस नीलम रिवर इज़ अ ट्रिब्यूटरी टू झेलम, और झेलम का राइट पाकिस्तान का है, तो नीलम के वाटर का राइट भी पाकिस्तान के पास है। हाउएवर इंडिया इंटेंडेड टू बिल्ड अ हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट ऑन नीलम रिवर, और चूँकि नीलम रिवर को इंडिया में किशन गंगा कहते हैं, तो किशन गंगा प्रोजेक्ट वॉज बीइंग बिल्ड बाय इंडिया in on this Neelam river, but the method was that India had diverted a part of the Neelam river towards Jhelum, और उस डाइवर्जन की वजह से जो पानी का फ्लो है नीलम रिवर, इट वाज बिलीव्ड बाय पाकिस्तान, इट वाज एंटिसिपेटेड बाय पाकिस्तान that Neelam river water flows will be reduced and the water will come from Jhelum, and that would mean that Pakistan will face some problems with respect to irrigations on Neelam, and broadly Pakistan had the problem that it would set up precedence, and India might use this precedence to in future to divert other rivers as well. So based on these concerns, Pakistan has approached the the forum between India and Pakistan as has been given by the Indus Waters Treaty. So I think Indus Waters Treaty के accordingly अगर कोई dispute आएगा तो उसके लिए different forums हैं। जो पहला forum था that was the forum of the Permanent Commission between Pakistan and India on Indus Waters. इस कमीशन के ऊपर हमने मामला उठाया इन 2012 एंड 13, और हमने ये मामला इंडियन कमिश्नर ऑन इंडस वाटर के सामने जब ये मामला उठाया तो वी वर अनएबल टू रिजॉल्व इट डिस्पाइट द लैप्स ऑफ मैनी ईयर्स। अल्टीमेटली पाकिस्तान वाज लेफ्ट विद नो ऑप्शन बट टू यूज द सेकंड रेमेडी, द सेकंड स्टेप, एंड दैट वाज अप्रोचिंग द वर्ल्ड बैंक। व्हेन पाकिस्तान अप्रोच द वर्ल्ड बैंक, तो हमारा आर्गूमेंट ये था, हमारा कंसर्न ये था 2016 के अंदर, हमारा आर्गूमेंट ये था दैट दिस इज़ अ मैटर ऑफ द वायलेशन ऑफ द ट्रीटी and India is breaching the legally binding provisions of the treaty, and therefore we requested World Bank to approach and appoint a court of arbitration. When World Bank consulted India on the matter, India was of the view that it's a technical matter, and therefore the matter could be referred to a neutral expert who has to be a technical expert in order to give his recommendations on this project. But as a result of the 2 divergent requests to the World Bank, the treaty was silent on those 2 divergent scenarios. So World Bank initially requested India, Pakistan, and it made a technical pause on that as well. It requested India, Pakistan to come up with a common and a joint version in front of the World Bank so that World Bank can choose that option and move forward in resolving this dispute. However, as has happened historically, India and Pakistan were unable to come to one page on whether to refer the matter to the court or to the neutral expert, forcing World Bank in 2022 to use the concurrent methods. That is, on the request of Pakistan, World Bank ने appoint कर दी court of arbitration, and on the request of India, it simultaneously and concurrently appointed the neutral expert. Pakistan joined both proceedings. Pakistan approached, हमने कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन की प्रोसीडिंग में भी हिस्सा लिया, हमने न्यूट्रल एक्सपर्ट की जो प्रोसीडिंग है उस पर भी हिस्सा लिया. वी एग्रीड टू द वर्ल्ड बैंक डिसीजन. India, on the other hand, rejected World Bank's concurrent decisions and said that instead, World Bank, under the treaty, cannot proceed with both of these provisions simultaneously. World Bank has to choose the one and not both of them. So it was for this reason that India boycotted the Permanent Court of Arbitration's proceedings, and it questioned the jurisdiction, it questioned the kind of powers of the Permanent Court of Arbitration to hear the case under the treaty. Although India agreed that they would participate in the neutral experts proceedings, but they boycotted the proceedings of the Permanent Court of Arbitration, challenging its jurisdiction. When India challenged it last year, it was for this reason that the Permanent Court of Arbitration first has to decide whether it has jurisdiction over this issue or not. And on 6th of July, हमने देखा कि जो Permanent Court of Arbitration है, it rejected India's 6 points, जो 6 इंडिया के objections थे Permanent Court of Arbitration के ऊपर, उन हर point को Permanent Court of Arbitration ने reject किया. And the most significant part was it was unanimously rejected by all the judges in the Permanent Court of Arbitration. This verdict of the Permanent Court of Arbitration is considered to be a huge development, a huge success for Pakistan and Pakistan's case with respect to India, not just on Kishan project, but in a broader issue on what does this treaty mean for both India and Pakistan. So नाज़रीन, जब initially ये decision World Bank ने किया था कि वो concurrent matters पे जाएंगे, दोनों पे जाएंगे, before India raised objections to the Permanent Court of Arbitration, India went further ahead. India ने उस conflict को escalate किया, it upped the ladder of conflict with Pakistan, और उन्होंने in January 2023, they wrote a letter to Pakistan asking for revising this entire treaty. They asked Pakistan to update this treaty, amend the treaty, और दो reason दिए गए. एक तो ये reason दिया गया कि the third party's involvement need to be reconsidered by both states, and secondly, it was a reference to the World Bank, and secondly, India was of the view that when this treaty was signed, that technologies were different, climate change factor was not there. So based on the different changes that are happening in technologies, in kind of the machinery that we use, the knowledge that we have, and besides, the climate change factor has also affected the river flow patterns. Therefore, India has asked Pakistan to go for renegotiation of this treaty. Pakistan wrote back. India gave the ultimatum to Pakistan in 90 days. Pakistan responded back, but this matter is still unresolved. However, during this time, April में जब पाकिस्तान ने लेटर लिखा, उसके बाद हमने देखा कि 6 जुलाई को ये परमानेंट कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन का डिसीजन आता है, और इस डिसीजन के अंदर जो है वो इंडिया की सेशंस को, ऑब्जेक्शंस को रिजेक्ट किया जाता है. Pakistan welcomed this decision of Permanent Court of Arbitration. India is still intransigent on that. India is still adamant on this point that it will not accept the Permanent Court of Arbitration decisions, and a sovereign state cannot be compelled or forced to accept the decision of the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which, in my opinion, is contrary to what is written and what has been agreed by India in the Indus Waters Treaty. The current BJP government can be critical of Jawaharlal Nehru's decision to sign this treaty, but it does not mean that India as a state is not obligated by the provisions of the Indus Waters Treaty. So let's come to this point, Nazeen, कि ये जो decision है और जो India के consistent rejection है इस even इस decision की, how would have an impact on Pakistan, India, and the treaty itself? For many scholars, India's such stubborn stance on this decision of the Permanent Court of Arbitration and the treaty's method to solve the issues, this is likely to create a major question mark on the sustainability and operationality of the Indus Waters Treaty. For many scholars, India, by this attitude, is threatening the very existence of Indus Waters Treaty, and this Indus Waters Treaty is considered to be a success story taught globally and cited globally as a successful model. But India's stubborn method, stubborn attitude is jeopardizing this success story, the only success story that India-Pakistan has in the last 63 years. So this treaty is being threatened because India is likely not to follow it, and if it does not follow it, even the verdict of the Permanent Court of Arbitration, then there will be question mark on the validity of the treaty itself. Therefore, this is likely to lead to another impact, which is the threat of a direct war and possibly the nuclear war. Because Pakistan's nuclear thresholds include the water security of Pakistan, and therefore any breach by India on this treaty and any unilateral withdrawal from the treaty in the worst case scenario could lead to a direct war, and potentially any war between India and Pakistan is likely to have the potential to turn into a nuclear war. So this is likely to create a major regional and global security concerns for Pakistan as well. And last but not the least, Nazreen, this India's intransigence would also affect the broad issues between India and Pakistan. If there's already a lot in the menu of India-Pakistan disputes between themselves, which both states are unable to even talk, let alone the will to resolve. This water disputes and India's, again, stubborn attitude towards this issue is likely to further complicate the broad India-Pakistan relations in the short term as well as in the medium term. So, to conclude, Nazreen, hum keh sakte hain that this is one of the few diplomatic, political and legal successes that Pakistan has on external fronts in quite some time. And if India does not act upon the decisions of the Permanent Court of Arbitration, it would not only affect Pakistan and Pakistan's interest, it would also be, and it should also be, an eye-opener for those global powers who think that India is a law-abiding international player, who criticize China for violating international laws and values, but who are likely to ignore India's violation, yet another violation of the international law, and therefore it is likely that India's global image should be affected, although we doubt that it will happen. But it also provides Pakistan an opportunity to highlight how India has been disregarding international laws, international commitments, international treaties, whether they are UN resolutions or whether this is Indus Waters Treaty or the international courts like Permanent Court of Arbitration. Thank you so much, Nazreen, for watching this program. Kindly, at the end on your screen, you can see a one-liner and the vocabulary. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.